You can find voters pretty much anywhere in Zimbabwe, down dirt roads and in thick scrubland as well as the main cities. But not here. And that's the point, there aren't any voters here, even though, according to this electoral roll for Harare North, there should be thousands. You get the odd shack like this, which is supposed to hold maybe 20-odd voters. That's according to the electoral rolls that the MDC has gotten hold of. In fact, this whole area around here, 300 square metres or so, is supposed to hold 8,000 voters. We came to Hatcliffe with Teresa Makoni. She's the head of the Women's Assembly for the opposition MDC party and a candidate in these elections. Earlier at her office, she explained to us the MDC hasn't been provided with a proper electoral roll from the government, only a digital version which needed to be electronically decrypted to make any sense. When it was decrypted, it seemed to produce thousands of ghost voters, people who, by all accounts, don't actually live here, but are registered to vote here.
This is the area covered by the housing cooperatives. Ernest Kadungure Housing Cooperative, Fast Track Housing, New Park.
If you look at this peg right here, 10110, that address is on Ernest Kadungure Housing Cooperatives. So I take it that we are on Ernest Kadungure Housing Cooperative right now.
Apparently so. The address does correspond with the electoral roll, which also says there should be 22 people from almost as many families living in this one shack. Do you actually think that the people who you've seen on the list actually exist?
They do not exist. They do not exist. Because if they did, they would be here. So obviously these are fictitious names. And I would not be surprised if half of those people are dead people.
Back at MDC headquarters in Harare, the party's Secretary-General is just as adamant something's up. Tendai Biti reckons some of the people registered in Harare North are just a little bit too old to be voting.
Those are your dead voters. The life expectancy in Zimbabwe is 37. So if you are 60, you are very old. If you are 84 like Robert Mugabe, you are a gerontocracy. You have long expired.
For him, the irregularities seem to explain some other irregularities which have dogged the build-up to this election.
And those non-existent voters will then be used to vote come election day, which is why they've overprinted the ballot papers, the 9 million, when they require 4.7 or 5.2 million.
We spoke to the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission. They said irregularities are not uncommon because, according to them, many deaths in Zimbabwe go unregistered. That's unlikely to appease opposition candidates, though, including Simba Makoni, himself a ZANU-PF member until 2 months ago.
We are satisfied that the integrity and the credibility of this process is gravely in doubt.
The need for change in Zimbabwe is palpable, and the people are ready to use their vote to make that happen. But if the residents of this field are included in that process, well, there's no telling what the outcome might be.
Well, joining me now here in Harare is Utwale Slagwane. He is from the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission. I will say I'm going to refer to him as Sly now. That's how he prefers to be referred to. Thanks for joining us, Sly. What do you make about those allegations which we've seen in our report about ghost voters, 8,000 voters who should be in an empty field? Have they been investigated?
The issue of ghost voters, it cannot really be substantiated as such. But what I want to say is that the voters' roll, yes, the voters' roll is not really perfect. It cannot be 100% perfect. People die every day, and even today, when voting is taking place, tomorrow people die. But I can confidently say that while it is not 100% perfect because of these natural causes, it is a credible voters' roll that can be used for the purpose of...
So you're not concerned at all that there is irregularities, intentional irregularities on the electoral roll?
In terms of irregularities, except that there might be some dead people, yes, in the voters' roll. But overall, it does not affect the electoral process much because...
I guess as long as dead people aren't allowed to vote.
Yes. And the only way we can remove those dead people is that if there's information coming to the Registrar General of Voters that somebody has died. Mm-hmm. Without that information, there's no way we can, the Registrar General of Voters can remove those people from the voters' roll. So the voters' roll they will remain in the voters' roll. But as I mentioned, the voters' roll is not really unusable.
What about the way that the opposition party, particularly MDC, who we spoke to, got hold of the electoral roll? They said they were given a CD with lots of single files in it, which they had to decrypt just to get the information. Surely this is information which they should have ready access to.
Oh yes, there is provision for the political parties to have access to the electronic roll, and the Electoral Commission has made that possible. We have given out the electronic voters' roll to the political parties. So not only to MDC, but other parties as well. Simbamagoni also got the electoral the voters' roll, electronic voters' roll, as well as other parties.
So you can say categorically now that when the polling stations open in 11 hours or so from now, it will be a free and fair election, that you and the electoral monitors have done all you can to make this a legitimate vote.
What I can say is that the Commission has prepared fully for this election, and I can assure you that the Commission is going to carry out its mandate very transparently and independently and impartially, and it will give the electorate the chance to exercise their democratic right and choose the leaders of their own choice. Right. We are ready for that.
Okay then, Mr. Slagwana there from the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission. Thank you very much.